Hello everyone, my name is Akai Fox and this is a painting video. In today's video I am working on a requested art commission in which we have been requested to paint a couple things. One, there is a city in the background that has lots of neon colors. We have a hill in which a Fortnite skin, the Volpez, is overlooking the town, which you saw momentarily, my sketch, and the battle bus, which is a big bus that is being suspended by a hot air balloon. So that is the art commission request that we are currently working on. Now you may see in and out through the video, my cute little tabby was fairly obsessed with trying to be part of this video. I often say in my channel she thinks she's the real streamer, and so you will often see her backside or tail or paws throughout the entirety of this video. Now, as I sketch this out onto the actual canvas here, I do come back and realize that although I put so much time and detail into that battle bus, I felt that it was trying to almost share the spotlight with the main character. And so I do go back and I make it much smaller because I don't feel like it should be that big for how small the canvas and how often the distance it should be. Now, I will say this whole request was definitely a test of my abilities, and it's been a little while since I've drawn and painted something so meticulously detailed. I do have to say I'm pretty proud with how it turned out. Of course, I always have opportunities to improve and to be better, and that is something that is an ever-evolving concept, but I am pretty proud. She wanted something that was mostly profile, somewhat overlooking the city in the background and that kind of stuff, and I feel like I did justice to the character itself. I tried to make sure that it was as closely referenced as I possibly could, and then this is where I went in and made that final decision. Okay, we are just going to remove and completely erase and redraw that battle bus in a much smaller capacity. Now, I myself am not an avid player of Fortnite. I will occasionally play the game if I have enough friends that coerce me or carry me through the levels. It's not something that I ever really boot up on my own to play, and so I know of the battle bus, I know to thank the bus driver when you're playing, and I too also have a version of this same Volpez skin that the commissioner had requested, and mine's the orange fox instead of kind of the snow or white fox, if you will. Now, as we move into starting to add colors, they had wanted to ask that they have a somewhat purplish sunset. And initially I come in and I wanted to add kind of a glow from the city extending outwards to some of the more purples and then into the darker night sky. Initially I started with blue, and then as I was talking through, I did feel that being able to add actually a black and make that white character pop even more is the direction we ended up going with. Now, there will be several layers. You can tell with this first couple layers, it's pretty streaky, and you can definitely tell where things are. But I wanted to give sections, so of course we're letting that background dry as much as possible before we go back over. The balloon, as it dries more and more, you'll see is in orange and green, which is the requested colors they asked for the balloon itself, and then to keep the traditional battle bus colors with the blue and kind of yellowish windows, if you will. Now, the buildings themselves are something that I really struggled with, and it got to the point where when I finished this entire request, I forgot some of the buildings off screen because I was really unhappy with where the neon went, and I'll go into a little bit more of that later, but just was not where I wanted it to be. So again, going back in, trying to deepen that purple, trying to deepen the sky, trying to make it less streaky overall and let things blend a whole lot better. So we're just going back over the sky with this. And then at one point, the person actually was in and out of my channel, and I showed them, hey, I'm going to be adding this black because it goes back in. Of course, I do cut anything that's not the actual art out of the video, but they agreed and thought that that was a really good way to make that character stand out even further. So again, working around in sections to allow things to dry. You can see as it stops being so shiny. I started to go in with some of the neon. Again, you'll find that I absolutely hated the way that this was turning out. I'll stop here in a moment and then specifically focus on just the character. The initial request was streaks of neon colors such as red, blue, green, orange, red. And I said, that's, yeah, you can see it about right here. I was like, this is not, you know what, let's just go back into the other colors. Very happy with the texture on the hill. I had a kind of sand color in my fluid art that I was kind of pulling. I'd pulled out the box for the neons, and it meant that it kind of gave it this texturized feeling to the hill, and I really enjoy how it turned out. I know it looks kind of purpley, I realize on camera, but I did find a nice bone white, so it is very much a white fox. But I didn't want it to be pure white like the canvas. That way you could play around with the white on the clothes and things. I'm sure the purple is probably, I have purple lights in my room, so it's probably casting a little bit of that. But if you've ever seen the Volpez character, it's got blue eyes, it's got little hints of blue, it's wearing a white camo. I've never really painted camo before like this, so that was fun, coming in with a studded belt, and then just really trying to add all of those accents with kind of white. And then I come back in and I decide again, am not happy with the buildings. We're just gonna paint over this in white. I'll come back to the buildings later. By this point, it's already almost like 4 or 5 in the morning. I had been painting for probably close to 6 hours. And I was very much just, okay, we're done. So let me grab my detail pen, which is a paint pen. And that's where I go back over the battle bus itself and the character itself to give it as much outline. I also talked about adding stars, so there you go, those are the stars we added in. Stars are very easy on a canvas. Typically you take a little bit of white paint, a little bit of water, and a toothbrush, and then you flick that all over the screen. So that is what I did to get a lot of our really small stars and details. And that leads us to this image. This is what I used as reference for the buildings I'm about to show you. Again, I did not do this on camera. I thought about it as I was almost finishing. So instead, I will show you the final result. This is how it ended up turning out. I moved a little bit of that color from the city and wanted to just make it more of a pink to purple gradient. So overall, very thrilled with how it turned out. The commissioner was very impressed and happy with how it turned out as well. And I just want to thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and support the channel. Appreciate you all and have a wonderful weekend.